Yeah, this thing's been sat in here for a couple of weeks. So rust on our Volvos, especially our 240s, it's the biggest worry, isn't it? The biggest headache, that's for sure. I wanted to talk a little bit more about rust on these cars and actually cover it a little bit more comprehensively, because I've mentioned it in videos before, bits and pieces here and there, but I've never actually done a dedicated, okay, this is where they rust, or at least the most common points, certainly from my experience, and also this is what we can do about it. So yeah, I'm going to do that in this video. We can just start in the engine bay, and the front of these cars is actually where you seem to have the least problems. We'll get to that shortly. I haven't had much issues in the engine bays on these cars. This car's got rust here, which is quite common on this plate. Obviously it's not a big deal really. I've actually had a couple of other 240s that haven't had rust here where this car has it. You can see where I've oiled it already and then it's attracted a load of dust. But you can end up with rust here on the frame at the front, on the inside and on the bottom. You guys will remember from the Mudster, I had it really bad. Check it out. Ooh. But this one's okay. The outriggers are probably top 3, I would say, of points where these cars go, and they go really badly. So you can hopefully see here where you've got like factory blue paint. So the paint cracks in there, water sits in there, you know, salt and dirt and whatever gets trapped. So you can see where I've gone over with some stuff already, but you've got these like seams here where the floor sort of joins to it, and there's gaps. You can see there's a gap. So obviously you can imagine the sills can go, mainly because on these cars you've got your scuttle panel here. You can see where the leaves get inside. The sills start to fill up with leaves and debris. The water gets trapped, and then of course from inside again, I mean there's a little bit here, there's a little hole there. They rust from the inside out, which is a nightmare. Obviously what you need to do is get inside. I'm not going to do it now on this car, but you need to get inside here, take out those bungs. See the water in there now? There's even snails in there. And vacuum out all the leaves that are sat in there. You will find a load of leaves in there, and you do need to remove them. I've already done it on this car, and I've sprayed fluid film on the inside of the sills, so they should be okay, but I need to, you know, keep on top of it and do more. Floors, not normally a big issue. It's normally when water gets inside. Main reason because of the windscreen leaking and things like that. But there's a few different ways it can get inside. When it does, the water sits. Now we're getting to the back of the car. Now this is where it really does start to become an issue. So the car's not jacked up, so it's a bit tricky to show you, but rear jacking points, a big one. They can go. They usually always go on the like outer part of the inner sill. Yeah, I mean you can see here where this all needs some proper protection. I'm going to get onto that today. In front of the rear wheels here, so you've got these parts that come down, they always rust there. Not just at the front where you can see them, but I'd say actually more so even at the back. They always go here, and then they can go in this general area at the back. And obviously that goes up to the rear seats, the bottom of the rear seats, and you would have seen the holes on the Mudster, you remember that. So yeah, they can go really badly. Obviously this one needs a good treatment. The biggest and scariest one, above that rear spring, they go. And yeah, expensive to do. You know, you can't just go really putting a little square of you know, Coke can tin over the top of it, like I've seen done. It's structural. Just to finish off, behind the rear mud flap, I can play you some footage of how it looks on one of the other cars. This car, I've done some repairs, some temporary repairs to keep the water from getting inside the trunk. A big one, very common, behind the rear bumper, there's the lip where the body like seams together, and there's always rust in there. Not the end of the world, but definitely something to check if you are looking for a rust-free car. And if you're paying like rust-free 240 prices, you definitely want to be checking that, because obviously you can use that in your negotiations as well. Let me know in the comments if I've missed something. I'm sure I have, of course, and it depends. It's on a car by car basis as well. I'm sure you guys have had 240s where they've rusted in a lot of different locations as well. But for me, and like from my experience and from what I've heard as well, those are the main ones. And I'm sure I said it, but rear arches are like, they're like almost a serviceable part. They are, you know, every 5 years, new arch. It's reassuring even just to look at the can. If it does what it says on the tin, I mean, it's literally, it's not actually for cars initially. It's main use. We can use it anywhere, but for example, if you've got like any rusty components, like here for example, if you've got a rusty gate, rusty fence, you paint it with this stuff first and it seals off the rust and stops it, and then you overpaint that with your colour, whatever you want to paint it with. Sounds like a miracle product, to be honest, and just what I was looking for. It can go on with the brush, of course, because obviously I don't have power here, so I can't use a compressor or a spray gun or anything like that. So it's perfect. I needed something that was brushable, as fluid film is, but of course this stuff is as well. This tin should do the whole car. It's really nice. It's really thin as well, even though it's oil. It says it's oil. It's super thin, so it creeps into all the little cracks and crevices and gaps and things like that. So you don't need to worry so much about getting good coverage. It's not too thick, and yeah, guys, it dries up, and that's it. You could overpaint it. I probably won't. I'll probably just leave it because it's clear as well, so you can see the rust underneath it. So yeah, let's get the paint brushes out and get started. Here we go. It just smells like a room that's been refurbished, like wood and paint and all those DIY smells. Nothing automotive. And where I've already done fluid film, I may as well leave it and I'll just go around with Owatrol around it. So I just noticed a little bit of bubbling here. No rust at all, just looked like the surface was a little bit raised slightly. So I thought, uh-oh. Started digging, and of course there is a small hole there, and if I started hitting it, I could probably make that bigger. Because it's not galvanised, as soon as it starts to rust, it just goes through straight away. Like, you just get no time, you get no chance. Spraying loads, so hopefully it goes inside that hole. I can actually use a straw and spray it in there like that. So yeah, that one's for Whiteland Restorations. It's on my eye. So that one's for Whiteland Restorations. Yeah, it's funny, they said in a Q&A the other day, they asked me if I use fluid film as a beard conditioner. And my answer to that is, if I could, I definitely would. Yeah, speaking of the Whitelands, actually, they actually, you might remember the rusty 240 wagon I had, the Mudster. There's been a couple, and yeah, I actually sent them the door cards off that the other day, so they took delivery of that. And yeah, they're going to fit it. They're going to fit them to their custom 240 monocoque. Anyway, let's carry on. So just did the inside of this frame, but I didn't film any of that. I totally didn't have it recording. But just so you can see, get the idea, spray a bit over here. So it goes everywhere, and I basically just fed this lance in through here, both directions, to the front and to the rear, and just sprayed, and just while slowly pulling it out. So guys, it's a few days later. That stuff is supposed to cure for, I think it said 12 hours or 24 hours, not really sure. Either way, I suppose you want to leave it a day or two out of any water or anything like that so it can actually set properly. So yeah, it's been a few days, it's been nice and warm, so let's have a look and see how it's doing. Yeah, I mean, it is dry. It's tacky, but it's supposed to be anyway, isn't it? It did say that it's supposed to be like flexible, but obviously at least with this you can actually still sort of, you know, you can work under the car. You know, if you did that with fluid film, you know, obviously your whole hand would be covered in oil. So this is it here, and you can see where it's bouncy. That's where a drip of it has dried, and it's like a nipple. So there we go. Hopefully this was useful to you. We'll see how it lasts. We'll see what it's like to work underneath the car. I've got some jobs coming up soon on it. We'll see how the rust does. We'll see how long it lasts, the product, if it needs to be redone, if it needs to be topped up, if there's any issues with it. And obviously likewise with this old tank as well that's been fluid filmed underneath. We'll see what that's like to work underneath, and I already know. I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll find out. So make sure you subscribe for that so you can see the long-term results, which is obviously the most important thing. And I'll see you in the next one.